Hi, everyone, and welcome into Don't Tell Me How to Fan. My name is Josh Albrecht, and with me, as always, is my good pal, John Taylor. John, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Josh. It's the most exciting time of the year to be a Brewers fan, where we get our hopes up.
And then nothing happens. Or if something happens, it's never the thing we think or want to happen. At the time of this recording, there has been no move. Scooble is still a Tiger. Mason Miller is still a Padre. Anyone else that you thought might be a Brewer is not. They are still with their team. The Brewers have not made a move. The trade deadline is Monday at 5 p.m. Central.
That's not true. They made a move, Josh. They DFA'd Lance McCullers Jr. after 2 starts.
Yes, that happened. The memes and the tweets of what was your favorite McCullers moment, because there were none.
Well, there's a few moments. I do want to take a time to highlight. I think that's actually really exciting. I think it's awesome that the Brewers brought him in, went, nope, he's dead, his arm's cooked, and then they let him go. They didn't try to like hold themselves accountable for the move. Awesome in the sense that like they won the game that he almost ruined. He didn't lose them any games, and he was not the answer, so they're still looking. I'm just saying, like, if we want a glass half full mentality here, let's not sit on our hands and act like Lance McCullers Jr. was enough. It was clear he wasn't, and so much so that they said, all right, see you later.
I agree with you on a lot of those points. I do, however, think that we need to focus on the fact that they took that $2.5 million swing, which I like. I like that they took that $2.5 million swing for him. However, do you remember when they took Contreras to arbitration over $800,000? And all the news and responses that I was hearing from people like Jeff Levering and Lane Grindle and other people within the Brewers organization was, well, you don't understand. For a small market team like the Brewers, $800,000 can do a lot of stuff. Yet we can throw away $2.5 million on Lance McCullers and go, meh, didn't work. I just want them to have that same mentality across the board. Yeah. Realize that you don't have to be the cheapest of the cheap all of the time. Sometimes you can make the move.
Well, they don't operate with the smallest cap in baseball, so I'm not trying to poke holes in your theories, and I know you're coming from a place of emotion, which is totally fine. I'm not going to tell you how to fan. I will. I'm not. No. I will say that Mark Adonasio last year around the trade deadline was like, oh yeah, our financials for the year are pretty locked in. So he's like, we have money to spend, like inside this. It's like the long-term commitment to money that the Brewers get, gun shy about. So, the $2 million, remember they received cash in the deal. It was like a pretty friendly deal for the Brewers to like help the Astros get under some sort of penalty apron. So. And obviously, the other guy that was a part of that, who's also been kind of getting rocked in it's fine.
Colton Gordon,
yeah. It's fine. He'll stay in the minors and we'll figure it out. To me, it reeked of no harm, no foul. And I'm like I said, my big point is, I'm glad. We were trying to spin ourselves some yarn about the idea that like, hey, it's a seller's market. Pitchers are going to go crazy if like they sneakily just get away with Lance McCullers Jr. and that's it. That might be a good deadline. And it's like, even they were like, no, it's not enough. He's got to go. And so I feel positive about that because it just proves that like, I don't know. We got to talk about it. Do we think they're going to get Scooble? Do we think they're going to get Miller?
Yeah.
Do we? I don't know.
What this all comes down to.
Yeah.
Right. And the answer is no matter what, people will not be happy. That is what I have dissected from this, discussing it day in and day out every morning on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, is that if they go and they get a Scooble or a Miller, they're going to give up something that people will not be ready to give up. I think that we're all in agreement that we will lose our minds if they trade Jesus Madej.
Yep.
Like all of us, 100%. He's the only one that I think is 100%. After that, I would say Andrew Fisher is probably number 2 in terms of the overall most not wanted traded from the fan base.
Josh, permission to hot take real quick?
Yeah.
Trade him. trade him under this specific context. I don't think he's going to be a bad baseball player. I would welcome him, in the words of Creed, with arms wide open on the Milwaukee Brewers. But what I will say is, if Andrew Fisher is a big enough piece that you're not having to send out like Logan Henderson, send him. You know what I mean? Like, this is where I'm thinking, like, if you can somehow convince the Tigers that Andrew Fisher is a big enough prospect that you are now not only reducing the amount of quality players that need to come back in terms of prospects or big league ready guys to a few select, send it. I saw one today that sparked a bit of drama in the circles that I talked to, where somebody said Tariq Skubal 4, Andrew Fisher,
Luis
Coleman.
Pena.
No, this is a different one. Coleman Crow and what was the last one? This was just baseball. Josiah Ragsdale. So 2 guys who've been mashing. You know, Ragsdale has like 10 home runs this month. But you're talking about losing Fisher, Ragsdale, and Coleman Crow for Tariq Skubal? Send it. Send it all day long.
Oh, yeah, that's an easy one. I would do that, and I don't want to lose Fisher.
And I don't want to lose Fisher either. But I'm telling you, if you can get a team like the Tigers to be so excited about Andrew Fisher and that pop in his bat that you're only losing 2 other guys, then you kind of do it, right? Like, I'm at a point where, short of Madej, like, take your pick between like Harden, Fisher, and Pena. Take 2 and leave me the other one, and I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think Luis Pena is somebody who could very well be in the big leagues in short order, playing alongside Madej and Cooper Pratt. However, we have to send guys. He's a back-to-back Cy Young Award winner. Like, we're talking about like CC Sabathia levels of like domination. Like, he literally pitched his last game and hit 1,000 strikeouts on his way out the door for the Tigers. Like, you have to give up somebody. This isn't MLB The Show. You don't just get to say like, yeah, we'll give you Tyler Black, we'll give you Brock Wilken, we'll give you Sal Frelick, we'll give you Jet. You don't get to trade spare parts for a Cadillac. You just don't. And I should have picked a better car.
John?
Well, because that's just not because it's not MLB The Show. Because we're living in the real world where the Tigers also have desires and aims and, you know.
Sure, but also, do the Brewers not have the leverage?
No, they don't. They absolutely don't.
The Tigers aren't going to re-sign Skubal, and they're going to move Skubal.
Yeah.
So, unless there's an insane bidding war, which, again, ends up being the problem with the Dodgers, and my hate for the Dodgers grow, because the Dodgers are the ones that are screwing us. Here's the other thing I thought about with this whole Skubal thing. The reason why I agree with you, and see, this is the thing, a lot of people that listen to me in the mornings, they assume that, like, I feel one way. They don't understand that I am very conflicted in my own brain, and I like playing devil's advocate. And so I completely see that side. I also see the side that goes against that point. And so I like to have discussions on both. But I had the thought on Thursday of, what if the move for the Brewers is they have to get Skubal to stop the Dodgers from getting Skubal? This whole time, we've been looking at, do we need to get Skubal to beat the Dodgers? If we then don't get him and the Dodgers get him, that's like a huge swing. And a bad swing. How does that not feel like a final nail in a coffin of just momentum towards this idea of beating the Dodgers, which has been the mindset all year long? Literally all year long. What have we been talking about? We beat a team and we go, yeah, but they're not the Dodgers. Is this lineup going to be the Dodgers? Yeah, they beat the Reds, but they're going to be the Dodgers. And now we're going to give them Skubal? No. If we're serious about making a World Series run, I think even more than do we need Skubal, we need to make sure he's not a Dodger, which means he's got to be a Brewer.
Well, this is why the Brewers don't have leverage in those conversations, because ultimately the Tigers know that they can just go send. I mean, the Dodgers have the second best farm system in baseball. It's not like they're far behind, and the issue is they can happily send off prospects because they'll backfill their roster by spending billions of dollars. You know what I mean? Like, the leverage isn't even necessarily Brewers versus Tigers, like you said, like you laid out so eloquently. It's like, it's the market. The market is dictating it, because you know who also could be a secret, like sneaky, like the Cubs could maybe go all in for a guy like Skubal. Like, I haven't heard it a ton, but it's not inconceivable. There are whispers that they're after Peralta. There's whispers that they're after other starting pitching, which makes sense because they've been absolutely decimated. It's like, are you telling me the Cubs can't figure out a way to put a package together to like bring him in and just basically anchor their starting rotation? Like, there's so many teams that want him that's why the Tigers aren't losing leverage just because he's not going to resign. Because 2 months of Skubal into the playoffs is exciting for anybody, for anyone.
I do have to say, though, I feel like the Brewers farm system is so much further than anyone besides the Dodgers. Like, the Cubs don't have, like, if the Brewers were to offer Pena and a Scriboon, it's better than what the Cubs could offer from their farm system. Like, we have high prospects. It's not just about quantity, it's quality, right? And to be honest with you, I don't even know some of the names of the guys in the Dodgers organization because you don't need to with the Dodgers. That's what's like the most messed up. How do the Dodgers also get to have the best farm system? Like, you shouldn't be able to have both.
Well,
It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, hopefully it'd be crazy if somehow Skubal was traded before the deadline. Like if somehow this episode airing on Saturday is null and void because Skubal was traded, I will be so surprised because I just don't know why they're going to hold out as long as they can to try to get the biggest deal that they can, straight up. And so I think you're right. Like for me, it's like they got to hold on to Made. And then everything else is like, I don't know if you think like this is what I'll, and I tweeted this the other day. I want to win a World Series. So go get Skubal. I really, honestly, at this point, minus Made, don't really care. And I know I'm on record in this podcast saying that you can't just sell the farm to go get a guy, but I don't care. We're the closest we likely have been to winning a World Series since 2011. You brought up so eloquently last episode, but like there's been a few times where it's go time. And I think like this is that year. It's go time. They're performing so much better than you thought. Like Fisher is not a for sure prospect. He didn't even land inside the 100.
Today's not.
Well, I just mean in terms of ranking. Like there's enough questions that Fisher has been kept out of the top 100. Like he can swing, he can hit the ball to the moon, but he also has a huge whip rate. His like, he's just not for sure. His defense is like middling, which is not something the Brewers typically even want to think about. Like there's questions about whether he could even play third base in the majors, and maybe he could, maybe he couldn't. But like at the end of the day, it's like we just don't know what we're going to get with these guys. And Skubal's put together a pretty decent resume, if you ask me. And if you could somehow keep Logan Henderson involved in that, then all of a sudden you're looking at this rotation just going like, where's the day off for the enemy team, right? You have to play baseball so differently when you have to face Mizorowski, Tariq Skubal, Kyle Harrison, Logan Henderson, right? Like if we shrink down to a 4-man rotation, like name a better rotation in baseball.
Probably just the Dodgers.
Maybe.
But that's the thing, John, that is keeping me from hitting that level of excitement that you have. Not saying that I want to play scared money, don't make money, keep your scared money. But in the back of my mind, when I'm with you and I'm like, yes, let's do it. Let's go. I want a World Series too. That's what I want. I'm like, okay, but is Tariq Skubal, is that going to be it? If we get a Skubal, do I feel confident enough in this team? A team that just lost a series to the San Francisco Giants with the final game of 16-3. Is that team a team that with one extra starting pitcher is World Series bound? I'm not sure, but I'm going to discuss that with you when we come back on Don't Tell Me How to Fan. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to Don't Tell Me How to Fan. Josh Albrecht, John Taylor. We are talking about the Brewers and what they're going to do at the trade deadline because that's the hot topic right now. That's the biggest thing is what are the Brewers going to do and where is it going to get them in October? John, going to the break, we were talking about, you said, listen, I want a World Series. I've had prospects in the farm system for a long time. I've never had a World Series win. Trade them, give me a ring. That's what I want. I'm with you. I agree with you. That's the number one thing I want. More than ever seeing even Jesus Made be a Milwaukee Brewer, I want a World Series ring. I want it. Problem is, I don't know that this team, as it sits right now, is a Skubal away. I don't know that it's a Mason Miller away. I don't know that it's a Skubal and Mason Miller.
I got to stop you there. Okay, I want to let you cook, but you burnt the pasta with that last take. Tariq Skubal and Mason Miller on the Brewers would absolutely launch them into, I think, favorites over the Dodgers.
They still have to hit, John.
I'm aware. Josh, Joey Ortiz wasn't playing. The Giants have our number. It's okay. Some teams just they're not going to be a factor. It's fine.
The Giants, this has been the whole team. Listen, this is what I'm saying about this Brewers team is that they've been very inconsistent in what they're doing. Guys are up, guys are down. This doesn't have the feel of like a team in 2011, 2018. Even last year felt more like, okay, we're really going, at least until I would say mid to early to mid September. Then they kind of started falling off a little bit. But either way, it's just there's something about this team that's the doubt, right? Is like when we looked at what we had offensively in 2011 or in 2018, and then you were able to add in pitching, it was like, holy crap. I'm not getting that vibe like we're a holy crap away, like we're that possibility away from a World Series. I'm also not saying that then I want to play it soft. I'm just saying it's hard for me to look at one guy like a Skubal and go, no matter what we're giving for him, that's not going to be enough. That's not the end all be all. We're still going to need a lot of luck. It's going to be an uphill climb. I don't think that you even become the favorites if you add a Skubal to this roster. Maybe if you still had Woody, and maybe if, I don't know. So you had two guys on the team that were mashing right now, but Churio has been lackluster lately. Bauer's had a toe injury after he's been in such a slump. Vaughn wasn't getting anywhere near enough playing time. The last couple of wins that this team has got has been on, Cooper Pratt has been a huge part of that. Luis Lara have been a huge part of that. We're getting more production out of our 7, 8, 9 than we are our 1 through 5. At some point, those things need to get fixed, or who's on the mound doesn't matter.
I don't agree with you.
Okay.
I hear you, but this team has been winning games this way. At no point has our offense clicked 1 through 9, or you would even say more than a couple guys at a time. So the fact that it's like Lara, Pratt, and Ortiz right now, it's like, great. It's August at the time of this. It's August 1st. It's the dog days of summer. Guys are tired. Like Sal Frelick has a shoulder injury, so Pratt or Lara need to step up. I think he would have taken that job anyways. But like my point is, like, they just have to find ways to win. They've built themselves a pretty nice cushion for the Central. I mean, 3 episodes ago, you and I were litigating whether we thought they were going to take the 2nd seed or not to even get a bye. And it's like, that's obviously going to happen. Like, they're neck and neck with the Dodgers for the best record in baseball. Like, I hear your concerns, but like at the end of the day, like, what more do they have to do? Like, I would love to know a name. This is like such a lazy fan take, and I'm not going to tell you how to fan, but I am going to ask you to not be lazy.
When people tell me how to fan,
I'm never going to tell you how to fan. I'm going to ask people to not be lazy. If you're going to say we need a bat, and people go, okay, who's the bat? And you go, well, that's not my job. I'm not the GM. I'm like, well, you kind of have to, where it's not 1947. Like, you have access to a bunch of information. Like, come up with an answer. If you're so impassioned and emboldened as a fan to have a take like we need to fix this team, then tell me how to do it. Because
I don't
complaining
know.
That's my. But before you jump back in, Josh, that's my point. The only thing they can do to get better is to just get elite at pitching more than they are already.
There isn't a bat.
That's my point. So go get Skubal. That's my point. So go get Skubal. Honestly, if you don't want to get Tariq Skubal, go get Clay Holmes. Go get Reed Detmers. Go get Jose Soriano. Go get Mason Miller. Like, any combination. Go get Michael Wacha from the Royals. Like, just go get anything. My point is, right now they have a bunch of young guys. They have a bunch of guys who can't get past 5 innings. You want to talk about why Aaron Ashby looks terrible? It's because the only pitcher we have that consistently can go 7 is Mizorowski, and we're not letting him do that right now. So like,
True.
We're taxing so much of our team for the sake of longevity. And I'm just not about to watch the results right now at the end of July and early August and go, this is what this team is going to look like come September. They don't hit home runs. One guy isn't going to change that either. They're not going to hit. They might not hit 100 home runs this season. They really aren't even close. One bat isn't going to fix that. Like, unless you want to add the home runs they hit from the team before, like, it's just not going to fix it. So this team is what it is offensively. What it can do is transform itself into being a nightmare matchup for most teams.
The Brewers have hit 98 home runs as a team this season.
Okay, so I was wrong. All right. Well, there you go.
They're still ranked 30th in Major League.
You're right. I don't know what I was reading. You know what? Doesn't matter. Point being, you're right.
They're bad at home runs. You're right about that.
They're bad at home runs. They are really, really bad at home runs. And so maybe the thing I read was that they still haven't hit 100 by the trade. Like, they might not hit 100 by the trade deadline. That could be the stat I was reading. Point being, you just gotta get better. And that's why I'm like, I don't know if Tariq Skubal is enough, but I'll tell you right now, not going after anybody isn't going to be enough. And I think, like, this is the other thing too. It's like we're guarding ourselves. We're emotionally hedging, which is just like, they're not going to do anything. So when they don't, we could be okay. But I really like them to. Like, there's enough smoke, not necessarily around Tariq, but there's a lot more smoke around, or Tarek. I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. Skubal. Yeah, Skubal. There's so much conversation around the Brewers trying to acquire via leaks about phone calls that, like, they are going to try to transform this roster. And it's exciting to see how it could go. I think there's a couple clear paths that they could go. If they end up just getting a bunch of left-handed relievers into the pen, like, I could see a ton of value in that. Is it the most amount of value? No, but I think they could do that. There's a guy they're playing this weekend. His name is Zephyrjohn. That's his last name. Maybe it's Brian Zephyrjohn. He's somebody that was like a sneaky, like, the Angels are going to sell. He's somebody that's profiles to be somebody that Brewers probably could get in the fold and really like. So it's like, I'm not just looking at Tariq Skubal because it's the big name. Like, I'm looking at it because I'm like, well, that's a need. But, like, there are plenty of other options. Like, and we've talked about the Freddie thing. Like, at this point, I mean, unless you're literally going to, like, just take back Jet Williams on a 1-for-1, like, I just don't care. Like, Freddie, you had your time.
Freddie, didn't do it for me. No,
we don't need another guy who can only go 5 innings. Like, I'm honestly looking at, like, Skubal just being like, man, that's somebody who can pitch 7 or 8 innings. He did it in his last game for the Tigers, where if he hurt himself, they wouldn't be able to trade him. Like, the guy's a workhorse, and that's what the Brewers need. They need veteran leadership and somebody who can just throw. And that's what I'm excited about. But to your point, and this is getting a little circuitous, so I apologize. I think Mason Miller almost makes more sense than Skubal, and it's not getting talked about enough. But the problem is, it's the years of control. But it's like, if you're telling me that any of our guys right now just have to get through the 6, and then you're looking at Uribe, you're looking at McGill, and then you're looking at Miller. Yeah. And that just go win 1-0 the entire playoffs. Right. So it's like, there's different ways to do this. I don't think there's one path. Sitting on our hands is not the path. And I'm hoping that all the reports are going to be enough smoke that there'll be some fire where we actually bring in some names that are actually exciting. As much as I love Shelby Miller and the other guy,
right? There needs to be a move. You talk about emotional hedging, knowing that in the past we've had to settle for, well, the Brewers didn't go out and get a guy, but they got this guy back from injury, so it's almost like they did. And that being like that will piss me off.
That's a loser mentality. With a team this good, that's a loser mentality. That's a Milwaukee Brewers 1990s, 98, barely below 500. Oh my gosh, this team might be good take. Like that, like they're the best. They're one of the best teams in baseball. Top 2. So go make moves like it. Period.
Yes. So I'm with you. I hope they do. Heck, I hope that by the time that people are listening and watching this, it's already been done. And they're all laughing at us right now, going, ha, wait until you guys find out that they did it immediately after you taped the podcast. I hope so, because I also don't want this to be something that it's 4:50 on Monday either. Like, don't drag this out. Sunday night at the latest, Please. I do not need this going into Monday. And I do hope that they make more moves than one, even if it's Skubal. Even if you get Skubal, I still want you to go get more guys.
They gotta get relief arms. The actual need is relief arms. That's what they really need to do. It's just not sexy, and that's fine.
Chad Patrick and Aaron Ashby, we have learned, are not the answer. If we see Chad Patrick or Aaron Ashby coming in middle relief in the postseason, none of the Brewers faithful are going to feel confident that they're getting outs. It's just where we're at with this team. So they need to get a big guy. They need to get a Skubal. They need to get a Mason Miller. They need to make a big move. I agree with you. No more devil's advocate. My take. Yeah, they need to do that. And they need to take that chance. And I really think that Brewers fans have put up with a lot of bites of the apple. It's been a long time of patient bites of the apple to where even if we put our chips in and we get handed a 7-2 offsuit, we go, I'm still glad we took the chance. It's just, I think we're to that point. And so hopefully Mark Antanasio and Matt Arnold make that decision. They're able to, I'd be even more pumped if Matt Arnold found a way to do it and it was something that didn't make me look at the farm and have it look like a desert wasteland. But even if it was, I still agree with you, John. I think it's the right move. I think it's something that they have to do. And I think that making that move too could also light a little bit of a fire under this team. Get the city back into it a little bit, especially in this time when they've been coasting. They pushed all of the starters back to give them the off day on Thursday. Drowan was supposed to pitch on Wednesday. They brought up some Thomas
Panini,
who was, just they essentially threw that game away to give the rest of the rotation a couple of days off. They're trying to not burn these guys out. They're trying to avoid fatigue. That's frustrating and hard to watch on a daily basis, right? You have to kind of take a step back and look at it and go, okay, I know the reason why they're doing this because they're slow playing this. But then you see the Cubs win, and you're going, okay, now the Cubs are only 5 games back. Okay, now the Cubs are only 4 games back. And you're like, I don't know that we can afford to be doing that. You get a guy like Skubal or Mason Miller in here, it changes everything. Everyone in that clubhouse also starts believing in it a little bit more. And that's what it really comes down to, is can they get these guys to believe in it as well as the fan base? We will see. All right, coming up next, we're going to shift gears and start talking about things that are happening up at 1265 in Green Bay. It's Packers training camp. We're talking about that next when we come back on Don't Tell Me How to Fan. Welcome back, everyone. Don't Tell Me How to Fan. Josh Albrecht, John Taylor. We just got done going back and forth with Brewers, but also happening now at the same time, training camp has started in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Packers are back. We started seeing the players riding the kids' bikes, amazing traditions, amazing photos from the social media team, wonderful memories, and not a whole lot of stories to go alongside. And honestly, John, it's difficult for me to assess that because I don't know that that's a bad thing. Is it just a bad news thing? Like, I feel like in the past, we've been looking specifically for maybe a player or two. There's a position that is like in desperate need, right? Like none bigger, obviously, than a quarterback. If you have a new quarterback coming in, right? That's what's happening in other camps. In Minnesota, they're looking at that with McCarthy and Kyler Murray and that battle of who's going to be the starting quarterback and blah, blah, blah. We don't have any of those problems right now in Green Bay. Really, we're looking at, all right, how are the draft picks going to do? And who's going to end up playing the spot until Micah's back? Otherwise, it's essentially just kind of, all right, yay for training camp.
Yeah, big time. I'm not expecting a huge reveal in terms of what Jonathan Gannon is going to want to be installing and working on, especially on days 1 and 2. I guess by the time this airs, we'll have all the first 3 training camps done and in the books. But yeah, training camp to me is always so much more exciting, the idea of it, than the application of it. You just get a bunch of people being like, our undrafted free agent quarterback hits a bomb against a guy who also probably isn't going to make the roster. And I just can't manufacture that excitement. And it makes me happy that I am on this podcast weekly, and I co-host a Packers podcast where we don't have to pretend like every single day is worthwhile news. I'm very happy about that, because a lot of the blogosphere, podcastosphere, radio shows, you all are talking about stuff that is outdated as soon as it is revealed. And somehow maybe you got away with it this week, but I heard massive conversations about, is Keyshawn Nixon holding in? Is the contract not going to work? Is he the next Elton Jenkins? The very next day, it was a hamstring. It truly was tight. I'm back on the field. He's already taken reps back with the one. Like, what do we like? I'm excited to watch the guys, because I just love watching the Packers, and this is the first step towards it. But man, I can't pretend to really care about anything past injuries. I don't even really care if guys are looking good. Like, there's not pads on. I just don't care. Like, it's important, but not exciting. And that's coming from a guy who absolutely loves football.
I was gonna say, you love the Packers and the sport of football more than any other sport in the state.
Clears them all by a mile. Could not care less about day 1 and 2 of training camp. Couldn't do it.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean anything.
It's fantastic. I do have to say, I feel like in the past years, like even looking at answering the question, I'm looking for a story. I'm looking for the narrative. I want some juice. Give me some juice in some way, shape, or form about something if I'm supposed to care about it. Right? If we were looking for, all right, who's going to be Jordan Love's wide receiver 1? Right? When that's a conversation, okay, then I'm at least paying a little bit more attention to who he's throwing to, who's making the catches in camp, who's showing out. And even then, to your point, it still might not matter. They might do all of that and then get to the regular season and be like, yeah, no, none of that mattered. Christian Watson's our number 1. But that's not a question that needs to be answered. That's the biggest problem. I hate to say this, and I need to make sure I preface this the correct way. I'm very glad that as of right now, we do not have a running back problem in Green Bay. However, if we did have a running back problem in Green Bay, I would have been paying attention a lot more to training camp, because that would have been a huge hole. And I would have been saying, who are the Packers going to get? What free agent are they talking to? Is that person in camp yet? Is this person going to make it through camp? That all would have been a story. Josh Jacobs, as of right now, cleared to play football. It's business as usual. There's no story. There's no story. It's Josh Jacobs. He's the guy. They had Trey Smack. Hey, we went and we drafted a kicker. Okay. Is he going to be the guy for sure? We're going to have McManus? Nah, we're going to cut McManus before camp. Okay. So it's just him? No, we still have Haversick. All right. So him or Haversick. Got it. Day before camp. Haverick's gone. Okay. So there's not even a kicking competition. It's Trey Smack. Doesn't matter how he does. It's him. There's just not a storyline around it. And that kind of, I don't, like I said, it kind of bums me out, but also I don't know that I should be bummed out. Like, I feel like I look at the messes that other NFL teams are dealing with right now in their camps, and I'm going, and so they've got news. They've got things to talk about. None of it's good. None of it's good things. So is that not something that Packers fans should be sitting back and saying, if you have a boring training camp, it means good things for your season?
Yeah, I think you should hang your hat on that for sure. I think there is a lot to be said. I think there's a lot of interesting things to watch, but I think it is champagne problems in the best way that Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur has got this team in a spot where all we can do is just watch and go, huh, cool, great. Marshawn Lloyd flashing like he always does. Of course he is. He's a training camp darling. The dude is an athletic freak. It's not a matter of whether we think he can do it. We know he can do it. He can do it at training camp. We won't get that answer until week 4. Is he putting on a helmet? That's my number one question. Right. You know, is LVN going to take the leap? Well, of course he's going to look good. He looked good out of college. The guy's nickname is Hercules. He's always going to look good. So that's interesting, but will he produce in a way to make up for the lack of production if Michael Parsons truly isn't going to be ready until week 8? Matt Schneidman intimating he maybe thinks he's back by the Cowboys. Either way, that's 5 full games without Michael Parsons. So, but that's already something we knew that. We already knew that, So I think like some of the biggest and not great news coming out of training camp is like Luke Musgrave, neck injury, not great. They are not talking about it like he's going to be back soon. They're talking about it like we really hope his NFL career isn't over. And thoughts and prayers to him and hope healing vibes. Like a neck injury is scary, especially when we talk about football in general. And, I think he knows as much as everybody else that this is not how he wanted to start his NFL career. And so, that's not great. I mean, I truly like, to me, that's like the most interesting thing is like, we've been all talking about like, can Luke Musgrave be anything until Tucker Kraft is back? But Tucker Kraft is like, I'm playing week 1. Not as emphatically as Zach Tom said that that's a non-negotiable, but like these are the things that I think were interesting. It's not even the field play. It's just like interviews with the guys being like, oh yeah, I'm back. I want to get the deal done. I'm back. Down to Devontae Wyatt being like, this is home. Like a lot of feel-good stories from guys who are making a lot of money. Go figure. But to your point, yeah, I mean, every throw Kyler Murray or JJ McCarthy is throwing at Eagan, Minnesota training camp, like it's getting scrutinized. Even some of the bad balls Love is throwing, I'm going like, he's a dad. Who cares? He'll dial it in.
With his family.
Aaron Banks, PUP on Wednesday. Oh no. Aaron Banks removed from PUP in practice doing individual workouts on Thursday. This is like the level of like, what are we holding on to? I don't know. Like, I care. I really, really do. I don't want to dismiss training camp. And I'm doing that a lot. And I just want to circle back to the point of like, this is the first year where I'm going like, if these guys come back, they're NFC contenders. Like, so I just want to jump to the time where everyone's back and I get to watch them be NFC contenders, and everything else is just kind of like a tease. And it's not like like you said, like, I don't know. I don't like, to your point, is there a position that you think somebody could surprise enough that you'd be like, holy cow, I can't believe that happened? I mean, I guess the answer is cornerback, but that's it. Like if somehow, Cisse was in with the ones, St. Juiced, but apparently on Thursday, they were back to like Cisse was on the left side, Juice was on the right side. So it's not like they were just swapping out Valentine. They were just kind of getting reps for everybody. And it's like, I think that's how it's going to go. And I'm on record on this podcast going, I don't think they're going to like let Cisse overtake Carrington Valentine because of training camp. Like, I just don't see how that happens. So
right.
It's worth monitoring. It's awesome. I love hearing that like Cisse and like Watson are going back and forth. Like, that's awesome. Like, how is Golden going to look if he, is he really going to emerge as like that next position receiver, that possession receiver speed guy that they need? Like, yes to all this, but like, it's all in a vacuum right now. And usually the offense is way far behind compared to the defense in most training camps. And
what about depth? I've heard a lot of people talking about, okay, yeah, you're watching the starters, they're going to know how to play, but what about the guys that are our second and third stringers that are probably going to see playing time because the NFL is, you're going not for long. You're going to have injuries that are going to be happening. So what about the guys that are scouting and looking at the reps for the second and third string guys? Does that do anything for you?
I mean, it does in the positions of need. I mean, I don't get me wrong. Like, they need a guy to step up behind LVN and Micah Parsons when he comes back. So it's like, is that Deni Dennis Sutton? They've been lining him up inside, which is awesome. Like, you put guys wherever you think they can succeed. Like, I think they need to be way more creative. Like, that's all well and good. Like, do we think it's Baron Sorrell? Maybe. Do we think it's Brenton Cox Jr.? If he didn't get injured last year, does he push Kingsley Enagbare for the third spot? Like, maybe. Maybe. I mean, I'd be curious. But at the end of the day, like, all I'm curious about is where are they going to line up on the depth chart? And that's like where I don't know if any of these reps are going to be the thing. Like, preseason games, when they're have pads on and are actually producing, like, that's where you kind of get these answers. So I'm curious about it. Like, it is more curious to me that DDS has found his way inside than like a guy like LVN, and maybe they would move LVN inside if he was healthy. But it's like, I don't know. You know, the depth about the quarterback room, like it's interesting, but it's like the path is pretty straightforward. I think it's interesting that Jonathan Baldwin has been lining up as like the slot backup as opposed to a safety backup. Like he always projected to be more of a slot guy. So it's like, are they going to play so many DBs and like in dime that like they need to have more poignant roles? It's like, if that's the case, I kind of like that it's not all, you know, they're putting Baldwin in a position to succeed. It's like, who knows who makes a roster, but I think that's infinitely more interesting. You know, Teron Hopper was getting snaps in on Thursday because Coop kind of got hurt a little bit, and it's like stingers are going to happen. Jager Burton started yesterday because Banks was out, and then he, you know, apparently reports where he was screaming some naughty non-radio words, and then, you know, he's making it seem like it's not going to be a big deal. So I'm not interested in these things, but I'm just ready to watch real football. I'm just so ready to watch real football.
You have 2 weeks until the preseason, and then you have 40 some days until the regular season. So you still have a little bit of time, but the preseason for sure will be here before we know it. In the meantime, I'm sticking with this idea that a boring training camp means good things for the Green Bay Packers. Hopefully, exciting things at the trade deadline for the Brewers mean good things for the Brewers in October. As always, we will wait and see and react next time on Don't Tell Me How to Fan. Stay tuned. Tune in next time. We appreciate you because we are not done yet.